You are on the line with Juan and Ryan and my brother, the Rhino, Ryan Knowles. And let's talk a little bit more specifically now, Rhino, about the Trojan offense. And this is an offense that you mentioned in the last segment that can put up a lot of points. They got great players. Let's talk about some of those great players, Rhino. Who is ASU going to be facing this Saturday? Let's get specific. Who are the Trojans?
When you're talking about the USC Trojans in 2012, you begin and end with their quarterback, Matt Barkley. I mean, the guy is probably going to be the #1 overall pick in this year's draft. I mean, he's a big-time pro prospect, one of the best in the nation, thrown for 2,750 yards and 30 touchdowns, over 300 yards a game. I mean, the guy is an excellent all-around quarterback. I mean, not from a scrambling standpoint. I mean, he can move around in the pocket a little bit. He extends plays quite a bit, but he's an accurate thrower. He can make all the intermediate and downfield throws, and he throws an excellent deep ball.
Yeah, he was making it rain against Oregon.
Oh yeah, and with those, speaking of which, with those receivers, I mean, he's got a ton of weapons around him to really tear up opposing defenses, and it's really, their offense really has thrived this year with the emergence of Marquise Lee. I mean, the guy is only a sophomore, and he's already putting up All-American numbers. I mean, he's got 88 receptions, 1,246 yards, 12 touchdowns, nearly 15 yards a catch.
That means he's running his routes. Yeah.
I mean, he's fast. He's got good size. He's 6 foot, and he's quickly becoming Barkley's favorite target. And he's even overshadowed a guy in Robert Woods, who was kind of the guy in the receiving corps coming in this year. And he's still a big time deep threat. Barkley has still looked for him. I mean, he hasn't put up the kind of numbers that he did last year. But I mean, he's having kind of a down year, I say, with 59 receptions, 656 yards, and 10 touchdowns. But he's still one of the best in the nation. He's a great deep threat. I mean, he can still make all the plays in the world. Probably yes. I mean, because he's, in all likelihood, I mean, he's probably the best wide receiver in the country. I mean, I can't see him.
Well, 6'1", 190. I mean, he's
the full package. And I think he's probably gone to the NFL after this year as well. And then another guy who's a big target for Matt Barkley is Xavier Grimble. He's a guy. I mean, they like to keep in and protect, and he's an excellent run blocker. And I mean, he's got good size. He's 6'5", 234. 20 receptions, 253 yards, and 4 touchdowns. It's a big time red zone threat. And he's a good safety valve for Barkley, and I mean, they got a lot of guys on this team who can really stretch the field. And I mean, it starts and ends with Lee and Woods, but talking about, I mean, we talk about the running backs. I mean, they can do some damage as well.
Exactly. Let's talk about some of those running backs, because Silas Redd, of course, transferred from Penn State.
Yep.
With all the sanctions, the whole Jerry Sandusky debacle. He's really one of the few. Well, actually, he was the only marquee player that actually left, right now.
He was probably the best player to be out there. I mean, definitely he's come in and really taken.
He's made a difference.
I mean, he's taken over that receiving corps. I mean, he's become the feature back over last year's starter Curtis McNeil.
Right. He's 135 attempts, 756 yards, 5.4 yards per carry, which is phenomenal for a running back. Yeah. 9 touchdowns, longest run of 57 yards, which means he has some wheels.
Oh yeah.
And 81.3 yards per game. Not at the century mark right now, but there's also, another running back, Curtis McNeil. So the Trojans like to mix it up a little bit.
When you're
they got so many backs.
Throwing the ball as well as they have, you use the pass to set up the run, and that's what USC does, and they've done it with success this year. And they don't necessarily need a guy to go over 100 yards a game. And Silas Redd has done his job. He's ran the ball extremely well. That's all they really need.
He runs hard. That's all he runs physical. He's a Big Ten back.
It's just
he's a Big Ten back playing in the Pac-12.
It's just keep the opposing defense honest, and he's done it extremely well. I mean, his numbers, I think, certainly speak to that.
Right. Let's talk about who's going to be blocking for Silas Redd, because of course the Trojans lost Matt Khalil, who is actually competing for Rookie of the Year honors with RG3 and with Andrew Luck in the NFL. A lot of experts are actually saying that he's the dark horse for the Rookie of the Year award, doing a fantastic job in Minnesota. And his replacement is a true freshman, Max Turek, 6'6", 285. He is what I would say a prodigy. This kid's like another Baselli. I watched him very closely against Oregon, and a lot of guys didn't get by him a lot, which means, one, he's being coached very well, and two, kid has some talent, man. If you can come in as an 18-year-old freshman and play the left tackle position, you're doing something right.
That's one thing that USC has always done well. They recruit offensive linemen.
Oh, yeah, man. They're just a machine. Baker, Khalil. I mean, we go down the line. Tyron Smith.
That's right.
I mean, Yeah, they got some good linemen
Yeah,
there.
and then Khalid Holmes, their center. I think
Yeah,
he's the
he's
stud.
All-American.
Yeah, he's the stud.
Remington Award candidate
Yeah,
for sure.
definitely.
Absolutely. So that's going to do it for as far as who the Trojans are on offense and the ASU defense will be facing. And when we get back, more specifically, who does ASU need to focus on defense to be able to stop the Trojan attack?